welcome to the dojo. Yes, my hair is blue. My name is Lucky, this is LuckyDadTV. I'm your host for this video, and it is time for our preseason 2 PBL team building against Mopman579 and the Detroit Gligars. And I'm scared. I'm just as scared as I was last week, but in a different way. Because here's the thing. Mopman, I have battled before. I know him relatively well. He's a good friend of mine. Part of the Nip Slips family. However, his draft is also very, very scary. The upside is the mons that he has on his team. They're not one-trick ponies, but they're not as versatile as the mons on Dom's team were. Like, he doesn't have Hoop Unbound. Hoop Unbound is a huge fucking issue. Thing about Mopman's team is that it has Landorus Therian. And Landorus Therian is a fucking problem. It also has Swellow, Ursaring, it has Galvantula, it has Sylveon. It has so many fucking threads. It has so many threads. So I kind of had to build a team in a relatively non-league style way. Because I really needed to have a lot of... I really just needed to build a balance. Because my opponent is really built for both the offense or hyper offense, either way. And I needed something that could, neutralize a lot of my opponent's strengths. So, I have Borealis as our special wall. Roar, Scald, Protect, Toxic. This thing switches in on Sylveon's Hyper Voice. Goes for Protect, goes for Toxic, goes for Protect again. And then proceeds to fire off Scald and Protect on alternating turns. It is like our backup. It's really our only reliable check to Sylveon. I do have a Pokemon that can outspeed and hit it with super effective damage. However, it's not going to take Hyper Voice that well. A Pixelate boosted Hyper Voice, especially if it's like Specs, will absolutely annihilate it. That's why I have Borealis, because Sylveon could hypothetically wreck our face. It could. There's not really anything we can do about it. I wanted to bring Muck to wall the Pixelate Hyper Voice. However, Psyshock demolishes Muck, and Sylveon is really, really bulky, so Muck couldn't really take it on 1v1. Like, if my opponent is running a Life Orb or Expert Belt or something like that on the Sylveon, it will beat Muck 1v1 because we simply just don't deal out enough damage. Muck has the issue that it can't take Hyper Voice and Psyshock, because if you invest in and Sylveon also has access to other moves that could be a problem. But Muck is not a good enough counter for Sylveon. Not good enough. It takes too much damage from stuff like Hyper Voice and Psyshock. Psyshock destroys us because Muck's defense is not good. Same reason Weezing can't take on Sylveon. It takes way too much from Hyper Voice. So I knew I had to bring Borealis. We can take Psyshock, we can take Hyper Voice, we can Toxic it and start wearing it down. The other thing that we have is we have Nermal. Nermal will help with that because we can get Fake Outs off. Fake Out is going to be extremely important because we really need to burn some of my opponent's turns. We really, really, really do. Because that's what's going to make it so that my opponent's Pokemon are a little bit weaker so that I can set up and sweep late game, because that's going to be extremely important. We have normal, as you can see here. Normal with fake out, return, U-turn, and knock off. My opponent has Galvantula. Normal opens up against Galvantula. Fake out breaks my opponent's focus sash. Return takes out Galvantula. It does not have the chance to set up sticky webs because we are guaranteed to outspeed it. That is why we have normal. Osiris. Culberberry. Walls pretty much all of my opponent's physical attackers. It walls Ursaring. It walls Swellow. It walls Landorus Therian. And we can burn those Pokemon. Even if they're Guts, they will lose their Guts ability if they hit us, because we have Mummy. That is why I think Cofagrigus is so well suited for lead style format, because it really just stops physical attackers in their tracks. Tough Claws. Goodbye. This thing walls Mega Metagross, because we get rid of its Tough Claws ability and then proceed to burn it with Will-O-Wisp. It can safely switch in onto Mega Metagross safely and take like nothing. It just it devours hits. But I needed a revenge killer. My opponent's team is not frail, but not super thick either. It's not super bulky, but it's not super frail either. So I needed a good revenge killer. I have a choice Scarf Mew. That way I don't have to bother setting up. Ice Beam, Scald, U-turn, Psychic. The 188 Timid means that we are guaranteed to outspeed a choice Scarf Landorus Therian. Ice Beam will destroy Landorus Therian. Scald destroys stuff like oh no, wait, I don't need Scald, I need Energy Ball. I need Energy Ball because my opponent does have some water types that I want to be able to hit for super effective damage. Ice Beam, Energy Ball, which hits the Rhyperior, it hits the Samurott, it hits another Pokemon that I can't remember because I know my opponent has another water type. I can't remember what it is. U-turn, switch initiative. Psychic is there for reliable stab. That's really why it's there. It's a good, reliable stab move. Psyshock doesn't do much. My opponent has much more of a physical defensive presence than specially defensive presence. As you can see, we only have two physical attackers on this team, being Normal and Hamhawk, and that is because, like I said, my opponent has a lot more of a physically defensive presence. Things like Rhyperior, Landorus Therian. My opponent's most specially defensive Mon is Sylveon, and that's or Registeel. And both of those Pokemon get absolutely demolished by Zeus. Sludge Wave Zeus with the Expert Belt and Nasty Plot. If we set up a Nasty Plot, we tear through both of them. A Choice Scarfed Hyper Voice will not one-shot us. At least I can't imagine it would. It wouldn't make sense if it did. Zeus has good natural. Nasty Plot. Well, we wouldn't outspeed it anymore. The 176, by the way, is so that we outspeed Ursaring with Quick Feet max speed drop. We will outspeed that. At +2, Sludge Wave demolishes Sylveon. Focus Blast demolishes anything that is weak to fighting. And Thunderbolt demolishes anything that is weak to electric. This thing gets walled pretty bad. No, this thing gets completely walled by Landorus. However, I can't set up the sweep with this thing until it's gone. Once a few Pokemon on my opponent's team are gone and they're weakened, I can set up and sweep with Zeus. Because Zeus is fast, Zeus has a lot of power, and Zeus has good coverage. The only issue is we have to rely on Focus Blast here. It's 70% accurate though, so I'm gonna keep my hopes up. But to round out the team, we have Hamhawk. If my opponent does not bring Galvantula, then we will most likely be opening up with Hamhawk. Because we can Icicle Crash Landorus Therian. And Superpower does a lot, but it's not going to kill us. And Icicle Crash should kill. The other reason is we really need Stealth Rocks up. Well, if my opponent has Landorus Therian, and I think it's going to open, I'm just going to open up with Mew and try and kill it with an Ice Beam as soon as humanly possible. But Hamhawk has Icicle Crash, Ice Shard, Stealth Rock, and Stone Edge. Ice Shard is because it's a good answer to Swellow. Stone Edge is because my opponent has, like I said, a lot of weaknesses to Rock. I don't think my opponent has... I think my opponent has one weakness to Ground. Maybe... no. My opponent has a couple weaknesses to Ground, but those Mons also are very dangerous for Hamhawk. And they're also extremely bulky. Off the top of my head, I think the only weaknesses are... I think it's just the Registeel and the Rhyperior, and we can't really touch them anyway. They are crazy defensive. So there's kind of no point in running Earthquake. Stone Edge is a much better bet. Icicle Crash is for catching things on the switch in. Ice Shard is for when we're in. Stealth Rock, you need to get that up. We can stuff like Swellow. Swellow actually kind of loses to this team between Normal, Hamhawk, and Osiris. Swellow comes in on Rocks, goes down 25%, and switching Osiris, it takes recoil from Brave Bird. And then as Mummy, we switch Hamhawk back in, and we take very little because it no longer has Gust, and then we can Ice Shard it and kill it. And Normal, if something else has died, Normal comes in, hits it with a Fake Out, does a lot because Swell is very frail. So that's kind of, you know, the logic with the team here. That's really all there is to it. It's a pretty straightforward team. I think it is pretty well suited to take on Mopman and the Detroit Gligars. I really do think that this can counter most of my opponent's mons. We do have Roar in case of setup sweepers, something that I did not prepare for last time. We have Toxic and Protect to whittle down some of my opponent's mons. We have Power Split. Again, an example of something that most people wouldn't really expect that could really come in handy. We can really neutralize a lot of my opponent's physical threats with Power Split. We can actually neutralize some of my opponent's special threats too, because we do not have that much investment. But Power Split could very easily come in handy. And then we, of course, Normal is... we're probably going to open up with Normal, because my opponent will probably bring the Galvantula, because I only have 2 Pokemon on my entire team that are immune to Sticky Web. And that is Togetic, which does not match up very well against my opponent's team, and Thundurus Incarnate, which matches up pretty well against my opponent's team, but gets walled by Landorus Therian, barring Hidden Power Ice, which I'm not bringing because I have my Choice Scarf Mew, so I don't need it. That's basically what I have with the team here. I'm not going to be making any more changes to the team. I already made a few small adjustments when I was right before recording this. For example, originally I had Incinerate rather than Sludge Wave, at which point I realized I had nothing to hit Sylveon with super effective damage. As you saw in this video, I had Scald instead of Energy Ball, which is just foolish, because there's no need for that. Energy Ball is better for what we're trying to do. The rest of the team was pretty much as it is. I originally had a Rest Talk Osiris, However, then we really couldn't do anything to touch Swellow. At least with Power Split, we can make it less dangerous so that we can switch in even more reliably with something like Hand Hop. I wanted to run Grass Knot just for shits and giggles because it's funny using Grass Knot on Rhyperior because it just gets annihilated because Rhyperior weighs 1,000,000 pounds. But Energy Ball is better because my opponent also has Samurott, which is not that heavy. I'm really relying on Nermal to... I know this sounds crazy. I'm really relying on Nermal to put in some decent work in this battle. And I'm really relying on it to really keep the pressure with that Fake Out. It's really important that Nermal keeps the pressure on with that Fake Out. I'm honestly predicting Nermal to be MVP because if we can keep Sticky Webs off my side of the field, and if we can keep that Fake Out pressure going, we can really, really, really weaken a lot of my opponent's team. Especially with Defiant. That's the key right there, is that we have Defiant. Which means we cannot be intimidated. Because when we get intimidated, we go to -1, but then Defiant activates and we go up to +1. And +1 with Silk Star, Fake Out will do a lot to anything. Except for, Registeel, Rhyperior, shit like that. But I'm really, really, really counting on Nermal to put in some good work in this matchup. And I honestly think Nermal could be, like, 7th Pokemon of the year for Miami Heatran. Because when I bring it, it's for a very specific reason, and it's to do something that's very important. But that's the team on. Thank you guys so very much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe down below. It's very much greatly appreciated. Yes, my hair is still blue. It's probably going to be that for 3 weeks. That's why I am not wearing the Lucky Beanie, is because I look funny with blue hair. But thank you guys so very much for watching. I will see you all probably tomorrow with the battle between me and Hotman. Make sure to go show him some love, of course. But with that, I'm going to get that. I'll switch right there. I will see you all soon. Goodbye.